Hello, hello, everybody. Thank you for joining in to our ASEC session for the month of July. Want to welcome all of you. I am your hostess. My name is Pastor Kim Amerson, and I'll be with you for the next 4 weeks. So make sure that you stay tuned in and just buckle up and be ready for hopefully a great word just talking about parenting. So I don't know about you, but something that I've always wished is that we had a manual or just a book on parenting. It's nothing like, having a car. You first go buy a car and it always comes with a manual. At least it should. And I just recently had an issue, and it's nice to be able to kind of go in that manual, look at the sensor, whatever it is that's on, the light that's on, and it says refer to page 72 to figure out what this problem is. But does that work with parenting, right? I wish we had a book to where when your child is going through teething or temper tantrums, where it could say, turn to page 106 and you can find, items on when your child is teething, or what it just say if your child is jumping from the top bunk bed, landing on the floor and just doing that over and over again. I'm not saying that it happened to my kids, but hey, I'm just saying it probably did. But I wish it was a book or a manual for something like that that could help me guide them as far as like what to do. How do I get my child to stop jumping off the top bunk bed? Just no fear of pain, height, nothing like that. But that's what I'll be sharing with you tonight. So I'm hoping that you'll continue to join in with us. Weekly, every Sunday evening. So my first thing, just really talking about laying a godly foundation and just wondering, what does that look like in your household? Having those purposeful conversations with the kids and just knowing that you need to really just laying that foundation down. And like I said, having a purposeful conversation. Don't just be on the phone while your children are trying to talk to you. Make sure that you're aware and just having a listening ear, ready to tune in with the conversation. And then just not asking them, how was your day in school? Maybe just asking them about the subject, or just asking them what went well today or what didn't go well. Because just asking them, how was your day? For the most part, they're just going to say, oh, it was good or it wasn't. But just finding a way to really dig deep into their day at school. I think that's very meaningful. And then really just paying attention to your children, making sure that you're following up with them in school, not just, like I said, just asking those questions, but making sure that you're staying connected. Know who their music teacher is, know who their gym teacher is, know who the principal is, and of course, know who their main teacher is, and not just, believing that, the teacher is right all the time, because, as a former educator, we make mistakes. Okay. So just making sure that you're staying connected with your child at all times in every area of their life. If it's sports, be involved. It makes a difference just being present in your child's life. Don't just be a body, able bodied there, being present in your child's life, maybe participating, volunteering, going to the basketball games or football games. I feel like I've been just an all around mom. I had a minivan for years because I had football equipment, soccer equipment. I think hockey was the only thing. No, they played hockey too. But yeah, I mean, from soccer, indoor, from swimming, indoor track, outdoor track. I mean, this was year round. This was my social life, is just getting to know all the other parents. But I made it a point as a young mother, just being present in my kids' life, and I figured if they, participated in sports, it would keep them from, running the streets, which they didn't do a lot of running in the streets because I kept a tight hold on them. But just being involved in their lives and just showing up at their school concerts. Kids need to know that you got their back. They know that you're their parents, but just having that extra support, going that extra mile to support them. And I would have other kids wanting to come over to the house or just whatever it was, because they knew I was just that supportive parent. And I would hear them say, I wish my mom came to the game, or I wish my dad did this. And, but I always just enjoyed it because and honestly, it gave me something to do as well. So, and then another thing is just basically setting clear expectations and boundaries. Kids, they need boundaries in their lives, and they need those expectations. So you have to let them know what they're expected to do. So if bedtime on school night is 8:30, 9 o'clock, stick to it. Don't just say it and then you let them stay up an extra half an hour, 45 minutes. Okay, so at that point, the boundaries out the door, because they already know, okay, mom's going to say something, but she don't even really mean it. So my mother, I'm just going to tell y'all a quick story. My mother, when we would get in trouble, she would just kind of get her house shoe. Y'all remember house shoes? We used to call them house shoes. Now they call them slippers. But she would get the house shoe for us, and and we would just scream like she was really doing something. And then 2 seconds later, as soon as she turned her back, we're just cracking up laughing. But just setting those boundaries, she always gave us a little bit extra. And I don't know if that was good, because we always took advantage of that extra, because we knew that our punishment was just going to be that house shoe, just that slipper. So, and just a soft slipper. So how bad does that really hurt? Not at all, right? So, but I think just setting those boundaries, kids, they need it nowadays, and they'll respect you more having those boundaries. They may not appreciate it when they're younger, but I know as we get older, we start to appreciate those boundaries that we have in our life. And then another thing is being intentional about just what you're saying, just making sure that you're sticking to it. Right? And don't let your kids run the house. I remember during the pandemic, teaching third grade, so the kids, of course, were at home and I was just teaching online, but I had parents calling me, asking me, how can I get my child off the video game? My child won't do their homework. They're watching the video games. They won't eat dinner. And I was just like, what? Just pull the plugs. I mean, that's my thinking, is just unplug everything. After they seriously couldn't tell them, the child was just refusing to listen. And my thoughts is just, like I said, just unplug everything. You be in charge. Who's running the household? Okay, so obviously the child was running the household at that time. But I remember the one parent in particular, I just asked her, I said, can you put your son on the phone? Because I could not believe some of the things that she was telling me, how disrespectful he was to her. And I just told her, I said, will you please put your child on the phone? So as soon as he got on the phone, and I said, hello, whatever his name was. And then he said, hi, Miss Amerson. Hi, Miss Amerson. I'm doing my homework. And I said, that's not what your mother told me. I'm going to get it done. I'll have it done in 15, 20 minutes. And I'm going to have my mom call you back. And she got on the phone and she was like, this is all that it took, But I think kids, they lose respect. They lose respect for their parents when you're not setting those boundaries. You have to have them. If you tell them to do their homework, that's what they need to do. Okay, not having the TV playing, not on their video game. Just do your homework. After you finish your homework, then you can go on to whatever it is that you want to do. So moving on to the next thing, talking about modeling what you want to see. So if you're expecting a certain behavior of your child, you should be modeling that as well. If you're telling, I'm telling you, I have so many stories, but I'm just going to keep it sweet and simple and to the point. But I would have parents that would just fly off the handle, cussing this, that, and the other at the child. But then if the child would cuss at me as an educator or another student, if I would call home and let the parent know, it was like this is what they're hearing and what they're seeing all the time. So that's what they're modeling. They're bringing whatever you're doing in your house, they're bringing that into the world, into the classroom, into the churches, into children's ministry, and into all of those things, into that environment. So you want to make sure that you are modeling what you want to see out of your children. So just remember that. I know it's kind of like easy to say, but we have to really take that into consideration as our children are going into the world. You want to be that role model for them, so they'll know, oh, this is what my mom did, or this is what my dad would do. So you want to make sure that you're modeling that. And then just kind of teaching those life skills, being intentional about that. So what does that mean? What does that look like as far as teaching life skills to your child and just being intentional, not just being passive, And I feel like sometimes as mothers, I don't know, I feel like I wasn't real passive in grooming and teaching my kids. They would, I don't know, they probably would tell you I was a little bit tougher on them than their father was, because I don't know, I just feel like I was just that one that was with them day and night. So I had to be. It's like the dads can come in, they look at the kids, they're running, doing whatever, and it's like as soon as he walks in the door, they're just like, hi daddy, we haven't done anything. And it's like I can scream and do everything else all day long, but then he walks in and everything is just smooth sailing. So, but I feel like I was a little bit more aggressive with them, but that's okay. That's okay. And then for 2025, what does discipline look like? Right? What does discipline being able to discipline your child? What does that look like? We didn't grow up to where, we were feeling like, oh, if you touch me or if you look at me wrong, I'm calling the police. Nowadays, the kids it's like 911, it's on speed dial for them. So that wasn't happening in my household. I don't know about in your household. You can go ahead and comment and let me know, how do you discipline your child? So, or your grandchildren or whomever, let me know, what does discipline look like in your household? So, but yeah, because it looks different for everyone. And I could tell you, yelling is not the answer. It's not the answer, because they tune that out. After they see that you're a constant yeller, they tune it out. So you have to definitely find like a different approach as far as how you're going to go about trying to discipline your child. Time out, and what does all that look like? I tell you what, this right here, the gaming, that is like, that's a way that you can discipline your child. Maybe just think about taking it away from them, at least maybe for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, because I feel like nowadays they feel like they can't live without it. So electronics, all of that, I feel like it's just a time to remove those devices from the kids. My children now, my son is 30 years old. I have a 20, I know, right? I'm telling my age. It's okay. It's okay. I'm proud of it. And then I have a 28-year-old and I have a 24-year-old. And they already know when we're out to eat or whatever it is that we're doing, let's put the devices away. Let's turn them off. Let's have some family time, because mainly they don't live here in Lima where I'm at, and just getting the opportunity to be able to spend time with them. I don't want to be at the dinner table and everybody's just got their head down. I mean, that just bothers me when I see that. Even when I go to restaurants and I see couples together and both of them are like this, there's no communication anymore. We're texting each other, right in the same room. Hey, can you do this? And I'm sitting right there. So let's kind of get away from maybe the technology and just, put a book in your child's hand. Who's reading books nowadays? Everything is like audio. Put a book in their hand so they can highlight, the high points and whatever it is. Just get something, like I said, just kind of getting a book in their hand is just something that I feel is needed, and just kind of removing some of the technology, and then it's damaging their eyes, right? So just something to think about. And I remember just even just kind of growing up, just kind of being able to take the opportunity to just imagine, just having an imagination, right? Which is really vision. But the kids nowadays, it's like they don't even they don't have to imagine anything. You know why? Because of technology now. It's doing it for them. They're putting these headphones on, these goggles on, and it is just creating this whole environment for them. Before, as kids, we would imagine, we'd be out playing in the sand and the dirt. Just imagine we got a whole castle built, all this good stuff. I had all these little baby dolls and just all kinds of things. And that's what I did as a kid. But nowadays, I feel like the kids, that stuff is like out the door, because it's given to them. We're putting it right in their hands, and just not even giving them the opportunity to just use their mind anymore. So let's, I want to say, just kind of getting back to the basic of how to raise our children, and let us not let electronics just take over, because we're losing our kids, and they are our future. They are our right now, and we need them. So I'm going to come back with a part 2. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off for today. Just want to say thank you once again for tuning in to our ASEC class for this week, and we'll see you next week. And have a wonderful evening, day, morning, whatever time zone you're in. Have a great day. Love you all.